begun on two fronts, audio and video, blah, 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 blah. I say this mostly so I make sure I push all the buttons. Yep, I got it. Okay, we're good. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Duh. What's the first thing you should do to protect an endangered species? Make more.
Okay, I like that.
The Morning Stream. Garblurg.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, Brian was raising the roof and it made me laugh. Threw me off for a second. Hey, welcome to TMS, the morning stream. It's Thursday, March 26th, 2020. I'm Scott Johnson. He is Brian Ibbett.
Yes, he is. I recognize that guy you play at the top of the show. That would be Joe Exotic, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you, well, that guy, let's see. Which guy was this? This guy here was.
Duh. What's the first thing you should do?
Oh, that's another. It's from that show, but it's a different cat guy.
Is it the you should film me coming out of the house and saying hello?
Oh, not Doc. Doc is a freaking weirdo.
Doc. Yeah.
He is the weirdo.
That show is a parade of freaking weirdos.
I know.
All right, we're 1 hour in. And if it weren't for raid last night, having getting the opportunity to raid with people I enjoy raiding with, I would have watched at least 2 more episodes of that show because it is so good.
I mean, who could blame you? It would have. I'm 3 in now, so I'm just ahead of you, not very far. It's something else, and it goes places soon. Like you're going to be like,
I can't wait. What? I know. I feel like basically I just got introduced to the cast of characters in episode 1. Yeah. I know that crap is about to happen.
It's so bad. I feel like I'm being educated in the kind. It's easy to get in your little bubble and forget like there is a wide swath of cultural nuance to even just our little nation here. Mm-hmm. And until you see something like this and you realize, oh, right, there's a whole bunch of these guys down in Florida doing weird stuff. Like, it's just throwing me, really getting under my skin.
I feel like we, every person that I've met at Nertacular, TMS Vegas, any of these events, like the community, the Frog Pants community, the Tadpool. Yeah. We don't have any weirdos. And it's like, you see this show and it's like, wow, are there this many weirdos just in this one little subsection of the world of this industry of animal rescue? Yeah. Like everybody, there's not a single that's kind of the normal person that I think I'd associate with.
Yeah. Yeah, none of them. I don't know any of these people. They don't know me.
Apparently the Venn diagram of tadpoolers and animal rescue owners, these farm owners, there's no overlap between these two. Nope. Like we've got,
Nope. None of you own dubious amounts of large cats from exotic places that I'm aware of.
Exactly. Maybe you do.
Yeah, and you're all weird in your own way, but none of you are this brand of weird.
Boy, it's such a brand of weird that. No, the any weird that I've met at the Tadpool, and believe me, I'm the patron saint of weird. I think I'm actually Saint Weird. Yeah, is my official title bestowed upon me by the.
Look, you wore an afro and split your pants at Nertacular. You're pretty weird.
Dang right, exactly. Yeah. Where was I?
I don't know.
yeah. There's no brand of weird that I've met at a Tadpool that I don't think is an endearing and charming weird.
Yeah, they're all lovely people, all of them.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, there's a couple exceptions, but most of you are amazing.
I know.
Most of you, just amazing people. Not a problem.
It's a guy who works in the Toy Story lot at Disneyland.
Oh, yeah. He used to work at Lantronix. Yeah.
Used to work at Lantronix.
No, I love Gary.
No, Gary's the best.
Gary from Lot B. Gary from Lot B.
Gary's the best. I love Gary, too. Yeah. He's very nice man.
He's got to be. That sucks, because with Disneyland closed, not only does that suck for a multitude of reasons, but Gary not currently not working has got to really suck.
Yeah. I hope they're taking care of you and they're not. Disney has all the money in the world, so they need to cover their people.
Hope they furloughed you and did not let you go. I'm sure they just furloughed everybody.
I would hope so. A company like Disney needs to do that. Even companies, even with like enormous losses this year, like was on DTNS yesterday. I think it was No, not Facebook. Maybe it was Facebook. Somebody was like down, or they were going to be down $60 billion in advertising revenue. It's a huge amount of money, but that still would put them at the end of the year above expectation, or above the line, meaning they're still profitable. So you best not, any company that has profits like that, you best not lay off anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You do your freaking human thing.
Exactly. People are your best, or your best resource for what you should be spending your money on.
Yeah.
So.
Now, guys like Brian and I, depends on how long this goes. I mean, if this goes for a real long time.
How many more of these you think you got in you, Scott?
I just mean, I don't know what the financial future is for content creators. I really don't. Given all of this stuff, hopefully it's like in the short term here, it's actually okay. In the long term, I don't know. And I don't know what the long term even is, because nobody knows what the long term is.
Right.
And if anyone tells you they know, they're either lying or they're trying to push you into a direction that you should be skeptical about. So anyway, I went on a hunt yesterday for all the smart people. That was my job. I was going to track down doctors, epidemiologists.
That must not have taken long.
No, it took longer than I thought. But I found, some good sources that I will share later on Twitter. Some people I found that I want to follow all the time, listen to all the time, that do nothing but good, scientific and reasonable, hard math-based factual stuff during all this.
Not conjecture, not speculation, certainly not wild statements about when this will all be over and that sort of thing.
None of that anymore.
I saw on Twitter that you were going to be looking for Twitch streamers that are
Twitch streamers,
reputable science,
YouTube channels, podcasts. I don't care where it's coming from. I'm just looking for the good stuff, and lots of great recommendations from the community. So
good.
I'm going to check a bunch of that stuff out. I think I need that right now. I need that way more than I need hyperbole and blame game. And
by Easter, we're going to have churches filled up. It'll be beautiful. Churches filled up with people.
Can I say one thing about that? So
sneezing at each other.
I think that he says we're all going to be in packed churches by whatever, right?
Yes.
Here's a belief I have, and I'll stick to this belief till I'm gone.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet everything I care about, own.
We talked about this yesterday.
Did we do that? There's no way he's in a church.
Sets foot in a packed church.
Not a chance he'll be there, and not a chance he should be. He's the president. You shouldn't be there because everybody and their dog will tell him, "Dude, you can't go there. The virus is still a thing." So even if this is still their line and they still push it, he's not going. And I don't just mean because I think he's a fake Christian, because he totally is. But even if he was like a really devout church guy, still not going to go. He's the president. Yeah. You don't put him in that kind of heat. So maybe you green screen it and put a bunch of fake people around him. I don't know what you do, but
there's a church in Colorado Springs, as you might guess, if there was going to be any place in Colorado where this was still going on.
Yeah.
A church in Colorado Springs that says, screw you, coronavirus. We're staying packed and we're staying full. And the video of their services last Sunday, the entire place just completely packed.
Ugh. Gross.
Yes.
Gross. And the reason that's gross, here's why that's gross. It's not gross because people of faith need the communal experience and need
right, of course.
They need to feel better. They need to get there and they need to commune with God. I get all that, all right? I understand that. It's the rat bastard, grifter, freaking megachurch runner people who know better than this and are doing this purely. They do this for the money. I am telling you, they do it for the money. You can't convince me otherwise. And so, F that and F them. In fact, here's a fresh couple of birds for them right here. Take these.
Fresh couple of birds.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that to your people?
They even they printed up a giant sign and stuck it in the window. This is in a strip mall, by the way. It's actually not one of there are a bunch of big mega churches in Colorado Springs, but this is actually one of the ones that's just in a strip mall.
Wow.
like Fred's church kind of thing.
How big is it? It's still a mega church? It's still a big...
It still had hundreds of people or a couple hundred people in there. all clustered together in their pews, like, shoulder to shoulder.
Mm.
I put a link in the chat room of the news story about this place.
There.
But they've got a big sign basically reprinting: the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution provides that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Yeah, nobody's doing that. You're just all being stupid.
Exactly. Sure, you do have the right. The First Amendment does provide that. However, you're all going to get sick.
Yeah.
One of you walks in there. It's not like going to be, maybe a couple of you. No, I mean, you're all shoulder to shoulder, and it's.
Yeah, you're literally playing with fire. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to your people? You really don't give it. You don't care about your people. If you did, if you cared about I don't know, I'm getting all Irish. If you cared about your people, then you wouldn't have them all in the same building, I tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway. The chat room keeps saying, are you talking about Joel Osteen? No. In fact, I think he's a grifting bastard too, but didn't he just do his thing but with an empty place? Like he just did his.
Oh, did he live stream?
Yeah, I'll give him if that's if I have that correct, I'll give he deserves some credit for that as much as I think he's a stink bug, but whatever. I have no problem. People of faith.
No, for sure. Like this is a great time to teach your constituents how to use Zoom or Skype or Twitch or whatever, and still continue their faith, but do it in a place that doesn't endanger others.
Right. You doing this stand of defiance. Let me tell you something. The virus does not give two hot shits.
Exactly.
It doesn't care. It doesn't have a constitution. It doesn't care about free assembly of religious people. It doesn't care about any of that.
Well, I guess I won't infect those people because of the First Amendment.
No.
I'll move on to this grocery store over here.
It doesn't have a affiliation with a political party. It doesn't care. It just wants your guts. So don't. Oh, all right. I promised myself I wasn't going to do this today, but yet here I am.
Sorry,
it's not your fault.
Get you worked up. Hey, okay, let's switch gears. Did you hear Jackson Brown has it?
Yeah, what happened there? What's he doing? Why didn't he stay home? Why Jackson Brown still out all the time, still touring?
He probably, I don't know if he's still touring. I'm sure he's not now. I'm sure he stopped as soon as they said, yeah, now's a good time to do things, because everybody kind of started obeying that order, but it was probably too late for some people, right? Like he had probably contracted it before people said, hey, you shouldn't congregate.
Yeah.
And
he probably just, I don't know. That's the thing.
Jackson Brown's 71, man. He's up there like Prince Charles. He's up in the age of more danger.
Oh,
more danger.
Schleicher also made a good point. Everybody was pointing out, how did Idris Elba and how did Tom Hanks and his wife get these tests? Is it because they're celebrities and they're getting preferential treatment? And the answer is actually probably not, because Idris Elba got tested in the UK, and the Hankses got tested in Australia.
Yeah. And I think they just got it early enough that by the time we were like, oh my God, there's a shortage of tests, they had already gotten theirs.
Yeah.
They'd already found out.
Yeah,
so.
that was a done deal. Has anyone checked in on them? Are they doing all right?
The Hankses?
Yeah. He does.
I saw a video of Rita Wilson doing a rap.
Oh.
On YouTube, so I guess she's fine.
Let's see. Mask and clothes. Aaron's run amid. Colin Hanks is okay. Let's see. Tom Hanks' son Chet slams rumors about his. Okay, I don't care about that. I'm just trying to see if he's all right.
There's a Chet Hanks.
There is. So there's a Colin Hanks, and when you look at Colin Hanks, you go, oh yeah. That looks like a Colin.
That's Woody, basically.
Yeah. And then you look at Chet and you go, oh my gosh, that is a Chet. Like he is
Did Chet fall more on the Rita Wilson side of things?
He fell more on the Limp Bizkit side of things.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me find. If you look at him, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do totally. Yeah.
And it's
the
fine.
Hype House beard and the cap on backwards.
Yeah, and you can't see it here, but when he shirts off, he is like a muscle band tat boy.
Tatted up.
Yeah.
Wow, I would not, like, if you showed me a picture of this guy and said, is he the son of Tom Hanks? I would have said no.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but
yeah.
Anyway, He's apparently a
Wow.
nice kid. He's just
All right, good
he just
for him.
he just took a little different path than Colin.
He
did.
said, "I'm not going down your Toy Story path of like goody two shoes, Mr. Rogers business. I got my own thing going on, Tom."
My brother looks like a doll. I'm not doing that.
That's right.
Anyways, all right. So my neighbor, I've talked about him before. My good friends, Darren and Ruth Ann. We hang out with them a lot. They're a very nice couple.
Yeah.
Up the road there. We get this call. So we've been dealing with no heater. Like today, I'm wearing a hat and there's a heater thing here by my feet, and it's snowing outside, and we still don't have our part. Supposed to be here now by Monday, but we'll see. Anyway,
Did you call customer service, by the way, and say, "Hey, this needs to be marked as a necessity"? Because
we did, but by then,
too late.
it was out of their hands. So all we can do now is wait for UPS to get their poop together, and
Gotcha.
I don't know what to do there. Like, what do you even do with UPS if they've already got the package? And I don't know how you hurry that up. But anyway, they call us yesterday with a horrible something smells in the basement, like dead body smell.
Oh no! They called you and told you something smells in their basement.
Yeah, they said there's something up over here, and they were just telling us about it.
Okay.
Turns out their freezer, which they had just stocked full of food 2 weeks ago to prepare,
for hunkering down.
their freezer went bad, and now everything smells like a corpse in their house.
Oh no!
So here's my question. After watching a little bit of Tiger King, it got me wondering if you could use this meat somewhere else. And boy, does that get weird in episode 3, by the way. You're in for some fun with the meat.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, it's already weird. I can't wait. It feels like it's just going to go crazy.
You wait until Joe starts a pizza shack. You're going to lose your mind where he gets his meat. But
Wow.
anyway,
I'm already loving his music videos. I already want to buy Joe Exotic's music video collection.
it's all on YouTube for the having, so don't have to pay a dime. You can get all you need.
So
Yeah.
all this, what you going to do with all this meat inside your freezer?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. You have an answer? It's all bad now, so what do? Just throw it out? We're done?
Well, if it's bad, yeah. I mean, even you don't want to give an animal bad meat. But
Yeah.
what happened? So with the power outage, were they affected by the power outage and their freezer went down, or did their
No,
freezer just go down
freezer just
independently?
died. Something crashed in the not crashed. That's not like a computer, but something in the
Reboot the freezer.
what's it called? The compressor, I guess. Whatever the parts are in there that go bad, that went bad.
There is
It's an
one of
older
those,
freezer, and it's not the kind of thing you check every day, right? You just sort of assume it hums away and does its job. And we haven't had any major power outages, so that definitely wasn't it. It just stopped working, and then they didn't know it stopped working, and eventually it just started to rot. And now everything's just disgusting. Probably happened over the last 4 days or something, 5 days.
Yeah, I think unfortunately you can't it's not like you could if they would have caught it earlier and said, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, stuff is going to go bad now. Let's call a local animal sanctuary." I mean, what they should have done is once they realized this was going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you basically, I think you got to figure out a way to jerky it or something. Like maybe you just bake the crap out of as much of it as you can.
Yeah, can I
get the
cure it?
moisture out of it.
Maybe
put
that's
it in
it.
Ziploc.
Yeah, maybe
Well, it's too late now, though. It's too late now.
Well, now it is too late, right? You
It's
can't do
spoiled,
anything.
yeah.
If they'd have known the minute it happened, there would have been work you could have done.
Mhm.
But can dogs eat it? You can't feed it to
I
animals.
know if it's spoiled. No, it's just gonna be just as sick for them as it is for you. Like,
Is it? I don't know how it works. Is it?
Yeah.
Do we have the same?
you know, say, well, this meat's gone. Time to give it to the dog.
I mean, you know what I
No,
mean.
no, my milk is curdled. Well, let's see. What's the closest animal I can give it to?
That's a good point. I guess they would have the
Yeah.
same reaction we would.
You know, don't you give your dogs? Well, I guess Alpo and stuff like that is it's not something you would eat, but don't give something to your dog. Don't give any human food to your dog that you wouldn't eat yourself.
There you go. That's the qualifier.
I think that's the way to and for the most part, don't give human food to
I
your
mean,
dog.
if you had like
Chocolate's bad for them.
right. That's true. Grapes. Don't give them grapes. I hear.
Grapes are bad for them.
What is it? What's the deal with the grapes? What happens there? Do they?
They can choke on them because they'll. Like if you smash the grapes, I don't know. No, I don't think. I think grapes just completely are bad for dogs.
There's some
I don't
something
think it's
with
a
the
matter of choking on.
There's something with the skin, right? Something with the.
I think that's why I think. Yeah.
Like it makes it. They can't digest the skin of them. Or
Do
something.
dogs like grapes? Because grapes and raisins are known to be highly toxic to dogs. The research has yet to pinpoint exactly which substance in the fruit causes this reaction. So it's not just a matter of choking; it's a matter of the skin.
Something in it that's giving them grief. Okay. Well, I won't be doing that.
And it's not just the skin; it's the inside too. So no grapes.
Did I ever tell you about the time that Rainer lapped up some antifreeze in the garage, and I was sure this was it? I was like,
yeah.
Every time I've heard of that, dogs die.
Yeah.
This
Oh
is
my
like,
God, yeah, because that's like, they're like attracted to the smell and they warn you constantly. Don't let your dogs
Yeah, and
drink
it's sweet to them, and then it can kill them like almost immediately and all of that. She was fine. I don't understand how it worked. We were all saying our last words to her, like, "Oh, Rainer, you seem happy now, but in 10 minutes or so, this will be it. Oh, the end of our dog. This is
We're all
it."
giving you our goodbyes, and you were a good dog, Rainer, and
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And then she just didn't do anything. It was like it was nothing. I'm not giving it to her anymore or anything like that.
Of course.
And she hasn't since, but she lapped up enough that I thought she would at least have gotten really sick or something. She didn't do anything. She was fine. I don't know if that was like, maybe we don't know it. Maybe we own antifreeze in that particular car, which we don't have anymore. But when we had that car, maybe we bought a kind that was dog safe.
Inadvertently dog friendly.
I don't know. I forgot to bring that up. That was years ago. I should have talked about it on the show, but she didn't die. She's still here. I can tell you for sure.
Wow.
She snuggled up with me today and licked my face while I was trying to sleep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad.
She can tell the humans are restless. She can sense it. So.
Dogs pick up on that sort of like nervousness.
Yeah.
Wait, somebody in the neighborhood set off fireworks last night for some
What?
reason.
Why?
And got our dog all in a Twitter. I don't know if they're like, yeah, coronavirus, or yeah, stimulus check.
Wow.
But we called the cops.
Oh, really? You
'cause
called the
that's-
cops?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh, Tina has 0 F's to give about this. And actually, she wasn't the first one. They'd gotten a lot of calls on these neighbors. They think that the first things they did were shoot a bunch of guns.
Oh, they weren't
And
even.
then they started doing fireworks.
That's a bad crowd.
Yeah.
Get the popo in. Get the fuzz in here.
Exactly. It's like, you know what? I'm totally behind her on this because these are number one, it's illegal. Number two, we've had a lot of wind and it's been dry. We haven't had a lot of rain or snow, so it's kind of dry right now. And number three, am I on number 3 yet? There are a lot of dogs and there are a lot of elderly people in this area.
Right.
And they don't need that crap,
Oh,
right?
you're not that old, Brian. You're okay. You're not that old.
I'm 50. I'm 50.
50.
I'm 50.
Yeah, no, it's not cool no matter where they're at. That sucks. They should go after them. Did they come to you guys? Because usually the cops, if you do a call like that, they'll come to your house and verify you are who you are and all that. Did they do that?
They called and
okay.
did a follow-up call with Tina and asked her, all right, what's your address and all that. So
We got a guy up the road who's fighting his neighbor right now. This is so sad. They're going to move because of it. But they're a little bit older, and they've got this a-hole next door neighbor who is just... They're not doing anything wrong ever, and they are just in their face. And they have video, they have Ring video, some security footage in the back of their house showing the husband, the jerk husband, while this guy is just trying to go to work. The friends of ours are just trying to go to work. The guy next door is standing up right on the border of their lawn where their property lines are with a signal scrambler that's supposed to like shut the camera down. And it's just going beep, 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 like this at the camera while this guy's just trying to get out of his driveway and leave. It's the
God.
It's so weird, dude. It's so weird. Those people are crazy. They're crazy. I would lose my mind if I lived next door to them. I feel so bad
for
them.
sure. For sure.
I feel so bad for them. And they're like all, total anti-vaxxer, angry, everyone's wrong but us kind of people. And and they're just so mean. Just so mean. There was a time. Oh, there's another one where he was out getting his mail. And they have video of this. I've seen this. The lady next door, who's the jerk, backs her van out into the street and then drives really fast and very close to him at the mailbox on purpose, lays on the horn, rolls down the window and says, "Get the F out of the way," or whatever.
Oh my God.
Like, right there. I know it's the most horrifying thing. I was like, you guys, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have to deal with this. It's awful. And I don't
Can
who.
we can't dox people, right? That's wrong, right? Can we?
No,
can
we can't. We can't dox them.
You know?
Well, I mean,
No,
it'll
okay.
get you kicked off Twitch for a month. I can tell you.
All
that.
right, okay, we're not going to dox people.
I can tell you that for some experience I had once.
But if you'd like their address, just email me at.
Yeah,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
they're really bad. But anyway, there's that. Hey, I got an email from a guy named Christopher. He said,
Cool.
Cops was his discussion topic here. Says, you mentioned watching Cops as being cathartic and relaxing. Have you heard of the podcast Running from Cops? It's a 6-episode look into the series and how they portrayed the people on the show and some of the issues with it. No, I've never heard of it, but it sounds
so it's a behind the scenes of the Cops.
That's what it sounds like. I would be totally into this. So
Did you? I don't remember you mentioning watching Cops being cathartic and relaxing. I mean, I remember you
all the
saying
time.
it makes you feel better about life because you see these people, dancing on the hood in a wife beater, holding a Jack Daniels and a gun, Jack Daniels in one hand, a gun in the other hand, going, "Woo, look at me!"
Yeah, no, totally. It's a weird when it's on, and I don't see it that often because I don't have TV anymore, like regular TV. But when it's on, I can't help but watch it, and no matter what I was worried about that day, all goes away.
Gotcha.
It's like, oh, right, there are people
Okay,
like
I guess
this.
That's cathartic. Yeah, I don't find watching Cops relaxing at all because it's like, oh my god, that's a person that exists.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's
That's
a
a
double-edged
real-
sword because part of you is like, part of you should be like what you're saying. It's like, oh shoot, that guy. I hope he never comes near me. But then on the other hand, I'm like, oh yeah, we're good. We have it good. We're all right. This guy's crazy and we're not, so everything's fine. Like I'm getting a bit of that out of the Tiger King. Like that's kind of what I'm getting out of that. So
Sure, exactly. No matter how weird your life is, you're not Tiger King people.
No, you're not Doc. That guy.
Running from Cops is on. Oh, it's a podcast.
Yeah, he says that in the thing.
Is he?
Yeah, he
Did say
says,
that?
have you heard the podcast? Running
Oh,
from
I had the
Cops?
podcast Running from Cops. For some reason, I was looking to see if it was like a video series, but it's just an audio.
Just an
series.
audio
Okay.
thing, yeah. But I'll check that. I'll check that out. I like
For
stuff
sure.
like that.
It's cool.
It's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
No big deal. I can consume that in these dark times. I got another one from Wind Magus. Oh, we checked. You know what? I always want to say let's check in on for Third Eagle, but I guess he's just doing rosary shit, right? He's not even
He
doing
is.
anything cool.
It's every day. It's yeah. Let's see what it was today.
Turn
Because
from
I'll
Catholic.
get on YouTube. A lot of the times, the music that I get sent from a band
Yeah.
is a link to their video, right? A link to their
Sure.
YouTube,
Sure.
and I'll always see live right now is what's his face is Third Eagle. See what he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah, here we go. Pray for Donald Trump to fulfill Bible prophecy.
Oh, that's today's.
That was today's. That was ended 37 minutes ago.
What specific prophecy or the whole thing?
He ends it. I think he ends it right at 9:00 so he can watch us.
Oh, that's
Like,
right.
It's perfectly timed.
Yeah, he needs to hop over to this channel and give us a listen, see what we're saying.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
That's right.
It's overwhelming.
Whelming.
Look at this.
Donald is very obviously shown here. I mean, look at his hairdo.
Okay, that's back when he was being critical of him, but now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
YouTube blocked True Prophecy.
Uh-huh.
And I would say, whoa, 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 to you people who are blocking True Prophecy.
Okay.
I'm off of the number 4, as we know, is a leopard. I moved over to 180 because I've moved 180 degrees from the way I previously felt about Donald Trump.
I don't know why they have to have logos for every time the Pope goes somewhere.
All right, that's fine. You can just stay over.
Do they have
there.
logos for when the Pope goes somewhere?
I don't remember the context
This
of
is
that.
a new clip. I don't know this one. Like,
It's actually, when did I get that? That may be, 2015. I don't remember the context though.
I don't either. That's great.
That was a while ago. Have we been listening?
Pope visits Germany 2015.
The first clip I have of him was only not even a full year into the show. That's crazy. That was 2012, October 9th, 2012. Let's see.
Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, that's the first time I recorded anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Did you see that picture of Putin in like the protective gear stuff? Did you see that by chance?
No.
I tweeted this too. It's like a, if I can find it. It's like a full hazmat looking, like barely can see his eyes.
Yeah, there he
coming
is
out
right
of it.
there, like a yellow, like he's Walter Whited up.
I think he
Walter White making meth.
Totally. He looks like he's taking it. He might be taking this a little serious, I'm thinking. You know? He might actually be afraid of the virus by the looks of
Man,
things.
could he pull his pants up any higher? I mean, it's basically like
No.
you'd have to stick his finger in his belly button. He'd have to actually unzip his fly at this
Yep.
point.
Yeah.
Check out the devil horse.
No, I'm not checking out the devil horse.
Oh, I miss his ramblings about the Denver airport.
I know. This is when life was simpler. 2013. What a glorious time in our lives.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, that's
All
not
right,
the
anyway.
email. Win Mega says this. Fun question for you guys. What are your top 5 superhero movies? Note, this includes the X-Men. 2 was good, he says. The Spider-Mans, Into the Spider-Verse was fantastic. Batman, offbeat stuff like Kick-Ass, Scott Pilgrim, of course, the MCU. Go, he says.
Sure.
All right, do you
Wow,
have a top
okay.
5? Because I have a top 5, but I want to hear yours.
I haven't given it a lot of thought, but I would put The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
No particular order, by the way. Dark Knight.
Okay.
Infinity War Endgame. I still want to count that as one movie. I know it's 2 movies, but it's a you don't get one without.
I would
the other.
give it. I would do the same. I would lump those together. Yeah.
Civil War, Captain America: Civil War. Into the Spider-Verse, I 100% agree with that one.
Mm-hmm.
And
This is where, number 5 gets tricky, right?
it does get tricky because I want to put something.
If you had a whole list in front of you, it would be you'd be easier. But we don't have that, so you're gonna have to just
Yeah,
pull
we
it out
really
of your
don't.
butt.
I hate going back into the MCU, but I dip back in there. I would put Thor Ragnarok. No, it would be either No, it'd be Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
I love Thor Ragnarok.
It's
I
great.
love that
It's an amazing film.
Yeah.
All right, here's my
Yeah.
list. It's not all that different. Mine is Winter Soldier number 1. Just saw it again and confirmed that I loved it. I would then put the Endgame duology on there. Then I would put Dark Knight. Then I would go. Actually, I'm sorry. I would go then Spider-Verse, then Dark Knight, and then my odd one would be Road to Perdition. Is a very
not a
good
superhero movie. It is based on a graphic novel, but I mean,
Yeah,
he
that
does
doesn't
say
count, does
superhero
it? He
movies.
does say superheroes. All right, let's
Yeah,
scratch
he does not
that.
say movies based on comic books.
Scratch
so.
that then. Let's scratch that. And having not seen Birds of Prey yet makes me sad because I think that would probably be on here. Maybe.
I don't think it would.
You saw it, right?
Because you saw. I have not seen it.
Oh.
Yeah, you can rent it. Like it's a.
It's an early release.
You rent it for about $20 though.
Yeah, it's like a whole. You want to have Kim and I are the whole family at the moment.
Fill the whole household of
Yeah.
people to watch it. You're about to
Is
say?
that what I was gonna
Is
say,
that
yeah.
what you were going to say, Jeff Scott?
It's impossible, by the way, not to think of these things. I was watching, just on Twitter today. Haley Steinfeld was talking about a new a song that she's releasing this week, and it's got a picture of her going like this. Yeah, and she's just all touching her face. I'm like, no, don't be touching your face. And then I'll see something on TV last night. I was watching Dharma and Greg of all things on Hulu because it's mindless '90s sitcom, right? And I'm watching it, and there's a scene with like 100 people all hanging out in a wedding, and I'm like, no, you can't all be there. Break it up. Go home.
No,
Anyway.
still not available to rent Birds of Prey. Not till April 7th, but you can buy it for $20. But boy, you better decide you like it for buying it for $20.
But that thing got raves. It was.
Did it really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it did. I thought it did well, but I didn't think I saw better reviews for that than I did Suicide Squad.
Let me see. Oh no, definitely better than Suicide Squad.
Really? Okay.
Birds of Prey. Let's see. And the Fabulous. So I mean, not through the roof, but 78%. Whereas Suicide Squad did. If I can find it,
I will-
20
while you're looking
Suicide
it up, I
Squad
will
was
say that.
27%. So yeah,
It
big.
was only 20. Oh my gosh. Okay, way better. Suicide Squad only got 27%.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, I did very.
I liked
poorly.
that so much more than. I liked it more than Aquaman. I didn't like it nearly as much, obviously, as Wonder Woman. I thought Wonder Woman has been the best of the DC
Oh yeah.
stuff, but
I keep hearing Suicide Squad and the Shazam deal were both. I never saw the Shazam thing, but these were both like
Shazam was okay.
yeah, it was all right. But the Birds of Prey business is supposed to be real good.
Interesting. All right. Well, then as soon as that's available to rent, listen. Right now, $5.99 rent. If you have not seen any, you've seen it because we both raved about it. But people listening to the sound of my voice, if you have not watched Knives Out yet, $5.99. You're stuck in the house. No excuse.
So good.
Rent that business and enjoy the hell out of it.
Watch
I'm
it
even
twice.
thinking about. I'm even thinking about buying the HD with all the bonus stuff in it because I enjoyed that movie so much. I would watch it multiple times.
It is likely worth that because there's so much stuff that you want to see again the next time. It is a fantastic film. I can't wait to see them do more of those. That'll be real good.
Let's see. The iTunes Extras features hours of exciting special features, multi-part documentary, Making a Murder, audio commentaries, deleted scenes. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I'm buying that later.
Weird. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't even have a section for box office anymore because there is no box office right now.
Right. Oh, I know. Yeah. AMC obviously had to let go all their employees.
Yeah.
They actually did the same now with their CEO and their executives are all furloughed now. Like there's nobody working at AMC right now.
Yeah.
It's like
I worry about that industry.
Yeah.
The film industry not as much as I do the theater industry. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if
they were
already it's already hard.
They're already struggling and this is like
it's like GameSpot or Stop rather or who else? Barnes and Noble. How are they doing? How's this going to go?
Yeah, no browsing books. You got to basically say tell me what's on the shelf. The third shelf over in the self-help and business section, and then I'll come by and pick up a couple titles from it.
Yeah.
Give me a list, I'll pre-order, and I'll do curbside pickup of books.
A little too weird right now.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat says they don't like Fargo. They can just unfriend me.
No.
Unfriend
People
me,
like what they
Jedi.
like. You know what that means, Scott? More for you. That means that when you stream Fargo, there's a little bit of extra bandwidth that you're going to get because they're not going to be streaming Fargo.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Yes, whatever void Jedi 71 leaves when he's not watching Fargo, I will gladly fill watching Fargo.
Exactly.
All right. Do we want to, let's see, what do we do here? You know what? Let's do the news and then our break and then Wendy, and then we'll follow things up with the haiku at the end. I like that idea.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. So let's do this now. Whoops, now.
I don't watch the news.
Third time's the charm. Hey, you guys, look, it's the news, and it's brought to you by.
Do you like Moon? Do you like Film Sack? Well, good news. We're going to get some Moon in our Film Sack. We're going to get some Film Sack in your Moon this weekend. Get subbed up early. Sub yourself at filmsack.com.
Yeah, I'm excited about Moon for some reason.
I think we're going to watch that tonight.
Yeah, I probably should try to squeeze it in early because Friday's kind of weird.
Yeah, I've got a lot of. All of a sudden, freelance is surprisingly
brisk.
Brisk. I don't know why, but one of my clients is a yacht charter. Like she charters yachts, and I guess this is a good thing to do if you just want to go somewhere with your family that you're already locked in a house with. Charter a yacht, and you're really social distancing yourself from everyone.
Yeah, but you still got to fly and stuff, right? Like to get to the yacht, or I guess you could live there. I guess you'd be living the coast.
If you live there, I mean, these are a lot of the people who charter yachts have their own planes that they fly to get to the yacht. So
that's a good point. They can self-isolate with their $30,000 a trip plane. Sure.
Exactly.
Those people can maybe.
You know what?
Yeah.
Whatever. You know. Hey, if they've earned their spot and they've got the means, good for them.
Yeah. I'm not so sure all of them
I'm not mad at people just because they make money.
No, I'm not mad at people for making money or having money. What I'm mad at is the disparity that we see in times like this.
Well, sure.
Because they'll
yes, and I hope that they are. Good point. I do hope that they are using some of that money to donate to people in need right now.
Right. All right. What did Carl Kalachik? Someone make Brian stop being the voice of reason. Yeah, Brian, quit being the voice of reason.
Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop being the voice of reason. Okay.
Gosh, dang it! So much reason in here.
Sorry. Yeah, screw people with money. Tell me about Chili's, Scott.
All right, Chili's did a mean thing. The Orlando Airport Chili's asked servers to come in and clean and then fired them all when they were done. Not cool. Readers.
I want my job back.
Chili's, we're huge dicks. Readers and workers at the Chili's location have noted the restaurant is operated by franchise HMS Host not the parent company. So this is important. So don't get mad at Chili's corporate necessarily, but get mad at this franchise. Anyway, the workers were called in and asked to disinfect and clean the entire restaurant before being individually taken aside and terminated, according to News 13. They interviewed the workers. We were disinfecting all the tabletops, moving the booths around, scrubbing the floorboards, wiping up and down the walls, bleaching everything, mopping, says Armelius Medina.
I'm going to interrupt you right there.
Yeah.
Because mopping is definitely what they meant to write.
Yeah.
But they only put one piece, so it's moping.
Oh, moping.
They were wiping down the walls, bleaching everything, and moping.
They probably were moping a little.
They probably were moping.
Yeah. That typo may be accurate by accident.
Well done, Orlando Weekly. They were moping.
Yeah. Says after we had cleaned, we were then told we were being laid off. I had a panic attack and almost fainted. I was dropping to the floor, couldn't breathe. I also have asthma, so everything was out of control. Servers in most restaurants clean their own stations and do side work chores to set up the kitchen and beverage station. During this time, servers are paid the state's tipping minimum wage, as little as $5 an hour, $5.55 to be exact. First, Chili servers thought the deep cleaning was in response to the coronavirus. Earlier in March, the airport announced the intense cleaning of the entire airport, especially high-touch point areas. Now, it still is that. But they were a-holes and fired you as soon as you got the hard work done.
Exactly. They should have.
It's those people with money that I'm mad at, Brian. It's those people with money.
You know what? I'll agree with you. And what they should have done, if they knew they were going to be letting these people go and they knew that they needed the place clean, they should have said, all right, here's the deal. We're going to have to let you go. If you want to stay and clean today, we will pay you for your time and your work today. But if you don't, we understand. And you know, that's what they should have done, is been upfront with them instead of like, thanks for cleaning. First place is this brand new mop. Third place is you're fired.
Yeah. Worst part about this story is
brand new mope. Your mope.
Yeah, brand new mope. Bring your mope. Bring your own mope. Yeah. The worst part of the story is I'm kind of hungry for Chili's now. Is that bad? It's kind of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is bad. What are you specifically hungry for at Chili's?
They have really good salsa and chips. They just keep bringing to you.
No, they don't.
They do.
Oh no.
No, they do.
No, their chips are not like made fresh in the restaurant. At least the one here, they're those. It's a bag of chips like you could get at your local grocery store, Scott.
Well, the kind
I know those chips, and I know that salsa, and it's basically like tomato sauce with no spice or flavor to it. Your Mandela-ing effect. You probably had chips and salsa at a really good place near a Chili's.
Maybe it's possible. It's possible, or maybe they had. I don't know. Maybe it was. Every time I go there, they're just like salty and fresh and hot, like out of a fryer.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then you know what? Then maybe your Chili's is different, because the ones I always get are the perfectly not isosceles. What's the triangle? They're all three quarters of the same. Equilateral. Every chip is an equilateral triangle that has been fried to pieces and came in a bag and dumped in a bowl, and then a bowl of chunky tomato sauce to dip it in. And
that is hilarious, because I don't think they're doing that here, unless I'm just crazy and I like a very basic thing.
It also has been about 10 years since I've been to a Chili's.
Well, I mean, with the experience you've had, I wouldn't blame you. It sounds like it was a rough time.
Oh yeah, it was done. It was the one on Youngfield, 35th and Youngfield, which is next door to a brand new Starbucks. And I'll go to the Starbucks and I'll ask for chips and salsa at the Starbucks before I ask for chips and salsa at Chili's ever again.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, my little apparently I've been misinformed. But again, I can't go check.
Well, you might have. Well, I mean, I'm sure. Either A, every Chili's is different, and maybe they do fry their own at the one by you, or B, they stopped getting the bags of chips in the last 10 years and they've done better and gotten good chips.
Their barbecue ribs taste like hairspray. I will say that.
Oh, really? See, okay, then that would be the only thing I'd get there.
Yeah.
That's where our little it's like, if I go to Chili's, the barbecue ribs are about the only thing I'd get there.
Yeah, the baby back ribs, the marquee product they have, and I think it tastes like hairspray.
There's a reason that, exactly.
That's amazing.
That's funny. Diced Tomato agrees with you, by the way.
Oh, he does. All right.
Yeah.
Diced Tomato. Well, his name's Diced Tomato. He's a bowl of
it's funny. Yeah, he's a bowl of what I consider their salsa to be.
Currency
actually agrees. Honestly, our Chili's had good chips and salsa as well. It's not amazing, but I agree with Scott. They were freshly made. Okay, then let's see. JC Calhoun has a photo. Oh no, that's definitely not what the chips and salsa looked like that I was getting. It was seriously like a bag of me Sandia chips that you can get at the grocery store that have the label that say $2 only.
Oh,
instead of only $2.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about here. This is what we usually get.
If that's what I got, I would be a lot happier.
Yeah, they're like that, and they come out sometimes. And actually, one of the problems is if they were sometimes the bottom ones are super oily because they're like fresh out of the fryer thing.
Okay, see, and I like that. But we all agree that the narrower your stupid bowl of salsa, the worse.
Oh,
the worse it is, because
100%.
Yeah, you need the wider bowl to dip the salsa in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to break my chip in half just so I can get into that dang little tiny bowl of salsa.
Completely agree on this point. This is the bipartisan coming together of the Chili's. Our Chili's bill is going through today, you guys. I'm signing this into law. That bowl's too small.
Executive order. Salsa bowls need to be 4 inches wide, minimum 4 inches wide, 3 inches deep, and need to be served with a side of hamburgers and cafefe.
Yeah, there you go. Hamburgers. So, but it's the same little cup they use for like a dollop of like sour cream
ranch
or something.
for dipping your celery into.
Yes.
That's what that's good for. You know why? Because celery stock can fit.
It's a narrow little thing, and it's perfect. Those are great. Keep those Chili's. But for chips, what the frick are you doing?
Apparently my Trump impersonation makes Rainbow Bright's skin crawl.
It's because it's accurate. That's why.
Yeah.
Because it's very good. Except for you haven't done that one I love in a while.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to sign an official executive order today to make.
We could, if I was
no, because I've been watching the news conferences with him doing his coronavirus update.
I try.
And he just
I
has
can't
diarrhea.
do it.
He has diarrhea of the mouth, and he just can't. He wants to tell more than he actually has concrete information about.
Yeah, so he'll make stuff up. But what's hard about those things too is you can tell he really misses his rally opportunities, so he's kind of sneaking a little bit.
Yeah,
of it
he's
in.
using he's trying to do his stand-up routine at the coronavirus updates.
Yeah. And that accordion.
And how about this coronavirus, folks?
What's that about? And that whole
silent enemy.
This thing that he does, the
the accordion, the Trump accordion of lies.
I don't understand it. I don't understand.
All right, sorry.
It's all right. Politics. What are you gonna do? All right. Here's what's this? Oh yeah. Here's a story, and this is the final one. Costco will now not allow returns on high demand items like toilet paper, water, and more.
What?
Yep. So Brian, all that toilet paper you bought at your Costco, they are not taking it back. That's it.
I was planning on taking that back right after Easter. I basically was hoping to get all my money back.
Yeah.
Right
Easter is the big day. That's the big day to take your toilet paper back. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great. I'm just gonna have to turn it into a bed in the spare bedroom.
Parents should, instead of getting eggs and going crazy with the Easter stuff, they should hide little squares of toilet paper all around their house. Make the kids find it.
You could decorate it. Just run the toilet paper like streamers all around your house and your trees.
Yeah, why not? I like this a lot. But yeah, they're not taking it back as a way of saying, look, you came in here and went nuts and overstocked. We're not going to help you out of that.
Good.
And they're going to have plenty of stock to get new people what they need. So it's not like they have to get it returned so that they can then get it out to people in need. So yeah, screw those guys for overdoing
just gonna
it.
Have to put it on Craigslist like the rest of us.
Yeah, or just don't get what you need, but don't Mad Max in there and say you run Bartertown and steal everything and take it all. Like just
at least with toilet paper, it's not going to spoil. They can keep filling their basement with toilet paper and.
Yeah.
You never have to buy toilet paper. I'm kind of worried for the toilet paper industry, right? With everybody who bought all their supply, people are not going to need to buy toilet paper for the next 5 years.
Well, apparently
Charmin is going to be out of business.
Apparently it is so there's so much of it worldwide, like the production capability or capacity for toilet paper is nowhere near its limit. This was just like a break in the supply chain is all. So when everyone buys it all at once, it's like, oh, well, we didn't order that much, so order more. And now there's more coming, and it's not like there's some factory where they're just scraping the barrel and they can't make enough toilet paper. It'll be
Captain
fine.
Kipper posted a photo from Costco saying returns will not be accepted on toilet paper, paper towel, sanitizing wipes, water, rice.
Wow.
Lysol.
Boy, rice. Yeah, there it is. Rice and Lysol. None of those things go together real well. Normally.
Rysol.
Yeah. Rice-all.
Rysol. No, we bought a bag of rice at the Chinese market maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and we still, I mean, that stuff keeps forever, right? We just basically, we come downstairs, we fill up our little container of it, take it back upstairs, and we make rice with that. So.
Yeah. It's good. It'll last forever, man.
Totally fine. It will last forever.
That's what I'm saying. All right,
Keep
we're going
it
to
sealed, keep the weevils out.
Exactly. Keep those weevils out. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, my sister will be here. It's a mystery what she wants to talk about. I have a feeling it'll be something about dealing with the stress of this time. So, we'll see what she has to say. In the meantime, a song from Brian who will play it now. What are we doing?
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. This is a performer who goes by the name Dayglow. And this... I love this. This is like an uplifting, fun pop song, kind of Vampire Weekendy, maybe a little OK Go in there. But I mean, you look at this guy in his photos, and he's just.
Those nasty boys will be my foot servants.
What's the right tip?
The Morning Stream. Mock death at your own peril.
That was very cool. I like that a lot.
Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I know you don't do the video too often, but that video I saw, and I said, "Oh, this is like perfect."
Yeah, that was really good. What's weird is there's another official video that's different than that. It's
like a live video. That's just the visualizer video. By the way, the band again, Dayglow, Dayglow. Can I Call You Tonight from the album? It came out last year called Fuzzy Brain.
Fuzzy Brain.
Fuzzy Brain. Just such a great
Pretty
song.
great. Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, Wendy time. Let's see what's up in the world of Wendy Ann Dunford Johnson. Would you like her address as well? Her phone number? Her social security? I can give it all if you'd like it.
Good.
Hey.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. I'm all right. How are you guys?
Doing what we can. Oh, I got to play your intro, but hold on. Let me try this.
Something wrong, Batman? Has anybody seen Wendy?
There, I'll stop it there because it still has that old nobody hears you fart or whatever. I gotta get a new one up there. Anyway,
I know. What else is on your mind that you don't have this done?
Yeah, there's nothing else going on at all. And man, that reminds me how bad my inbox is right now. My emails are out of control. I got to get in there and do those today because people are gonna think I'm dead or something. Anyway, don't think that. Think good thoughts. Hey, it's my sister Wendy. She. Sorry, she.
I identify as she.
Yeah, she identifies as she. Always has. Probably always will.
You never know. I have space for that.
She's an actual therapist, and here's the problem. Not only you that, you're a mother of four with 4 kids home from school. You're busy in the community, doing all kinds of other stuff too. And I don't know how you're doing it. So how is that going? How are you holding up in all of this business?
First of all, thank you for literally being the only person in my life that asks me that.
Oh, wow. Aww. Really? People should ask people more. That's a thing.
Do you know what it is, though? I think when you're supposed to always be the strong one. I mean, and legit, that's what I'm used to, right?
Right.
No, nobody asks because they're actually not okay to ask, right? So Scott, somehow you with your now chilled out version of no anxiety is the only one that can do it.
Well,
no, I appreciate that. That's very nice.
I may have spoken too soon. I don't know. Lately, this was all well and fine in terms of self-isolation and everything, right up until yesterday when I found out that Nick is home sick and really sick, but not it appears not to be this, but we don't know. Yeah. But he's got a job where he's the only one that's sort of out, in public.
Interacting with people.
Yeah, so for all I know, he does have it, and if he does have it, there's not a lot we can do because I'm here and I'm stuck here, and we're not supposed to go near him. We can take things to his doorstep. We did that yesterday, We do what we can, but there's very little you can do. And I don't like that feeling at all. I don't like that feeling of like being completely separated from your kids, no matter where they are, what station they're in. And it's the right thing to be separated. Like that is what we're supposed to do. But man, it sucks. I hate it. I really hate that. So I'm back to freaking out. Not freaking out, but I'm stressed about him, and I don't want him to feel like he's just alone. Because he is. He's just alone over there. He's got nobody.
Because he's just moved into an apartment by himself. Is that what?
Yeah, he moved out about a month ago or a month and a half ago. He has roommates, but he doesn't know them.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
they're students at the U. They're all nice kids, but he doesn't know who they are. He got this great deal on this apartment, and he's getting to know them. But that all started right about the time this all fell apart, and a lot of them aren't even there. They're
home.
At home because they went before all the lockdown. And in Nick's case, it's just the timing sucks, and it seems to be like a head cold thing, and it seems not to be related. But still, even if it's not. Because none of those viruses took a break. They're all like, oh, no, we're still here.
I know.
They're all good. So it's just, I hate it. That part I really hate. And it's more of a frustration than anxiety. It's just like I'm mad. And I've been taking it. Here's the problem. I've been taking it out on people without even knowing it. Like, I've noticed.
Yeah, join the club. That's what everyone's doing.
Yeah, like in a text exchange with somebody, I might be a little irritable, or somebody on the phone, or trying to talk to a bank about stuff is just like pulling hair, and it's kind of weird. So anyway, I don't know what you came with today, but because you didn't tell me, but I'm guessing it has to do with dealing with some of this weird position we are, like I said earlier in the show, this space between the lightning and the thunder. So what's on your mind?
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple things. One being, first of all, thank you for asking about me. It was you sent a text last week that you were sort of like, hey, we don't have to do the show tomorrow. How are you doing? And I'm like, I was such a mess.
Yeah.
And I cry once a year, people, and that was that night. So I appreciate you helping me cry hard.
You got your one of the year.
I got my yearly cry, which I'm a little worried about because I think in the era of pandemics, it might be more than once a year. So I don't know.
You know what?
That's okay.
It's okay. Thank you, Brian.
It's okay.
It's totally okay.
And it leads to actually what I want to talk about, because I think there's a great article that I could send you that I've lost already, but the Harvard Business Review, I think is where it is, about that feeling you're feeling is called grief. And also a really awesome resource, I'm going to just say at the top of the show here, is grief.com. This is David Kessler's stuff. He is the sort of expert on grief in the world. The 5 stages, the lady who did that, he was sort of worked with her on all of these things. And it's all pretty good stuff. Well, they have this sort of live pop-up Facebook group, 1:00 every day, where they talk about handling pandemic stuff. Because here's what I'm getting at, is that it's stressful. There's all these things happening. I mean, I have clearly a lot going on, and kids that I have to sort of worry about their emotional well-being, and now their academic well-being, and their physical, social, all those things all at once. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And what you maybe aren't realizing, and I think for anyone listening, this exercise, I should say, you the caveat is, if you don't feel up to this, don't do this. But because it could be a little bit overwhelming, is to sit down with a pen and paper when you have a quiet moment, maybe outside, away from people, I don't know, where you write out some of the things that you've lost, right? Because I think there is a lot of grief, and we've talked about grief on this show before, that we have rituals around death and a funeral or burial that helps us activate grief, without us choosing to most of the time, right? Like it just kind of goes through us, and we feel it, and we grieve. But when it's this type of thing, where it's so many things at once, and many of them are pretty superficial, in the big scheme of things, we have a real tendency to lock them away or push them down, see them as, oh, I should just feel grateful or lucky that I'm alive or that my family's safe, or, you just deny grief a chance to actually serve you. So the idea would be is you would write down the things that you have lost because the pandemic started. And it can be, obviously there's very intense, serious things. Maybe your job is lost instantly, or maybe a source of income is lost. Maybe you've legitimately lost someone to the disease already. All the way down to you really liked your yoga class and hanging out with people after to talk and have a coffee. And that is a loss.
Yeah.
And
you're saying it doesn't matter. It's valid. It's valid. Even though somebody may hear that and go, oh,
your problems are nothing compared to what I'm dealing with.
You're saying
Which
don't worry about
exactly
any
is the
of that.
problem with the internet,
Right.
because we're all competing. It's as if there's some scarcity for loss.
Yeah.
No, there isn't. But also don't be writing on Twitter that you're so sad about your yoga class, because they'll eat you alive for this very reason. Because here's the thing, there's no space if we don't grieve. So we all have our capacity for compassion, and we're all concerned about our neighbors. I mean, I'm in Minnesota where they're basically Swedish, so they don't come out and talk much anyway in the winter. But the spring is when they do. They usually emerge. And what I'm noticing is that it's like a traffic jam on my street now of walkers, because everyone is compulsively walking and walking their dogs.
Yeah.
But we can't actually connect in the same way. So maybe we're yelling hello or, whatever. So there's this weird, we're all in it together alone experience that is very interesting. And there's some really cool silver linings that I think will come out of all of this that maybe is too soon to talk about. But there is this, like, maybe a bit of scarcity for pain. Like, you don't get to feel bad about that. So for example, I have a friend who, loves the Jazz and is so sad that she and her family don't get to go to Jazz games. Well, you don't want to tell anyone that who is not paying their bills.
Right.
Right. I get that. But guess what? That for her is loss. And that's it's just as damaging for her to shove all that down as it is for someone to shove all the grief down from some other thing.
Right.
But death is kind of the only thing we've ever given ourselves actual permission to grieve about. Typically, as Americans, I think we have a special brand of this.
Yeah.
Of maybe cheery, look beyond that, and you should be grateful.
So am I doing this? I think I'm doing this because every time I say I want to talk about how the heater broke and it's snowing and it's cold and Kim and I are scrambling to figure out how to keep the house warm and not freeze the pipes while we wait for Amazon to slow boat a thing to us, I feel like I always have to do a caveat before I explain it to people and say, I know people are in way worse situations. I know there's a way worse reason to complain about. I mean, there are people with already who've got dead mothers or fathers who can't even go see the body because they're not allowed to. Like I come up with all the worst case scenarios, and then I tell people I know that all that is happening. But anyway, our heater's off and it sucks and it's cold and it's, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I have to explain that every time because I don't want people to think that I'm undercutting their problems. You know what I'm saying?
So really quick, why are you telling anybody anything?
Well,
about
usually it's just on the show is what I'm talking about. So I'm not
okay.
I'm not going outside and going, "Hey, you guy over there walking your dog. My heater's out."
About my heater.
Let me tell you about my life.
No, yeah. I mean the impulse is the same whether it was face to face, you call a friend, or whatever, as you do it on the show. But what is the motive of saying it out loud? Why do that? Not the caveat. We'll talk about that in a second. But why tell people about your pipes?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's because that's a really great question. Why do I do it?
Well, I mean, the question is, would we do it if we didn't have this outlet? Would we be telling people about
yes, you
your
would.
pipes? Or
I mean, we
Absolutely
might be. I think that it would be less likely though because I have that dad gene that dad had, where if we're dealing with something and we just don't, I do not seek people's help by default. Like if there's a problem or something breaks, I scramble to figure it out.
But you're not seeking someone's help. You're just expressing a story that's frustrating to
right.
you.
I would do, yes.
Yes.
If
I don't know if I necessarily would because
Brian doesn't do that.
If I was in a room of people.
So basically, in my head I go, well, what kind of fresh hell is this? And then I just move on from it.
That's
Brian,
I think
you've been training your whole life
I think
for
that's
this.
probably true. Brian seems like the type that would probably keep it to himself unless there was a reason to bring it up. But if I was in a group of, let's
Not
say,
healthy, I know.
if I was in a group of 5 or 6 people and we're just discussing our day, and someone said, "Well, how's it going with you guys?" You go, "Oh, we're cold, but otherwise we're fine." Cold? Why? The heater. Blah, blah, blah. Like that's how that conversation would probably go.
So this is why the internet is also good, and that is that you are seeking human connection in your stress or your challenge or whatever, and that is what makes us actually a pretty amazing species, right? So, I mean, I think maybe there's a few other species that are pretty good at helping each other do certain things, but a lot of it's just survival instinct and like, all right, that one's got a broken leg, let's leave it, whatever. And so we have the power to express, complain, whinge. There's all sorts of words for this, right? And sometimes people do it too much and sometimes people don't do it enough. But there's this human connecting that occurs. Mm-hmm. And it has value. The value is I'm not alone. I get a little bit of sympathy. I get it out of my internal shoving system. It's out of me. You will feel better. So if we could scan your brain, you'd feel a little better.
Yeah.
And it obviously depends on how people react to you, which is why when someone does something online and then gets attacked for it, especially if it was intended to connect, that's even that more painful because we're sort of have to be a little vulnerable to open up to say, hey, I have this thing going on, and get that connection. So on the very like superficial side, it's like, hey, I got this crazy story and now we're connecting versus I'm reaching out to ask for help. Okay. So there's like a gamut here.
Right.
But let's take that impulse, that natural connecting kind of thing when it comes to what we're losing, right? What everyone is losing from the most serious down to what we would think is just not even worth mentioning, is I'm not recommending anyone go online to get all this feedback from other people,
right?
But that you actually grieve yourself, because what happens is then I have more space. So for example, I can then feel more compassion for someone else's loss if I have showed myself compassion for my loss. It's actually a skill I can extend outward if I can extend it inward, if that makes sense.
It's like taking care of your own. This is a dumb comparison, but when you're on a plane and the oxygen mask drop, they always say do first and then help the person next to you. Mm-hmm. It's like how can you help them if you can't help yourself?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. You're going to be putting their mask on while you're losing consciousness, and both of you are going to. Yeah.
Like you're better suited
and
if you get
And it's
your
a perfect
stuff.
example, actually, of it, because where else in our life do we have that kind of thing that we hear repetitively about take care of yourself? Nowhere.
Right.
Only on the plane with the mask. That's the only place I can think of where it's reminding you that you're no good passed out. So do something for you before you try to help someone else, right? And so that's the point of talking about grief today, is that you have something to grieve. So here's an example from my life. So Abe is adorable. He really is just so cute. He's now 6'3", and so cute and so nice, and still like a piece of crap 14-year-old too at the same time, right? So anyway, he's so lovely. And of course, because now I'm appreciating that we're all alive, that I think he's lovely, but he's still, he's 14. So he was really weirded out about trying out for sports in school, and he's very good at most of the ones he plays and likes, but Sweden really dampened his sense of competence because you don't play baseball in Sweden. So he had 5 years without playing baseball or basketball, really. So I get him to this, I don't check the kid's grades, but I make him try out for a sport, which feels very not right. But also like, I just know the benefit of him feeling some competence and taking some risks and losing. And there's nothing greater than baseball to practice losing.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
Even the best in the world are going to miss, 6 out of 10 times at bat.
Yeah,
right?
that game is all about low averages on the high end, or not the high end, but there are people who are like, oh, he batted 500 this year, nice job. And you're like, yeah, it's like half.
Yeah, and that is incredible, right? Like, and
that's
great.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I've been very, very that's why I've always wanted him to do baseballs. I want him because he's a terrible loser and he wants to quit everything because he wants things that are easy, right? So there's parenting reasons, and plus I love baseball. Okay. So I get him to do it. He starts to get really excited. He starts training. He and I are playing catch every day outside. The kid has a sweet arm and he's left-handed. So like it's ideal, right? And we're playing and we're practicing and we sign him up. He starts going to trainings. He has his mental hiccup, which is just like, oh, I don't want to do this, and panicking and like, oh, I hate, and we're working through it. This is a therapy exercise and it's going well. And it's canceled. One day it's just canceled.
Just gone. Yeah.
Right? And so we're just like, what? And so I have to grieve some of it. And so does he. But how does a 14-year-old boy grieve, right? And so this has been my attempt. And I'm giving this as an example of maybe it will spark something in someone that their thing they need to grieve doesn't look like maybe even just sitting down with a pen and paper. But ours is we go outside and we play catch and we talk about losing something, having it taken, and the relief he feels as well, right? He's also a little relieved and he's also really bummed. And so we start to talk about empathizing with the seniors. Like some of these kids are signed to play college baseball and they will not have a senior season and they will not get to, the love of the game or, so we start to empathize with other people's loss around the same loss that we're experiencing. And, so I am actively trying to show him how to grieve. And at the same time, I obviously need to grieve too, because I probably care more about it than he does. Anyway, so that's an example of like, in the big scheme of things, big freaking deal, right? Once you're a freshman, you miss your baseball season. It's not the end of the world. And compared to everything else, you shouldn't even. But it does matter because what happens is he and I don't process that at all, and we just shove it down, it starts to build hopelessness or it starts to build panic or other things that if we don't take care of some of the grief as we go, we're going to be in trouble when everyone is full up to their eyeballs with all the things they're grieving. And I think that's where we take it out on other people. We have less compassion, less patience, because we have not treated ourselves kindly in our pain, right? Because we are all in pain somehow, some way.
Right. So do you, in the case of what you're doing with Abe, which sounds like it was going to be really a cool, you were stages into this process, right, of working with him on it. And it's funny, if I relate to any of your kids, it's mostly Abe. Tall, lanky, sensitive type, didn't like losing when I was younger, that kind of thing. All of that sounds about like me. And so I see this process as like a really good thing, a kind of process that I kind of wish I had with mom or dad. They did things, but they didn't know what we know. They don't know what you know about how kids develop and that sort of thing. So I look at all that and I feel a little bit of, I guess it's grief for it, like part of me is like, oh man, there's this one nephew, everybody, who's like basically my, there couldn't be a more appropriate uncle-nephew combo in terms of, the kinds of personalities we have. And now I feel bad he didn't get to have this, finish this opportunity. Or, it all got yanked away right as things were kicking off. And that's a weird thing to feel. And so when you feel that way, and then you just have to go about your day dealing with other people, you realize their problems aren't your problems in a more stark relief sort of way, because it's always true, right? But normally we can go about our business and I can go to the mall and you can go to the store and everybody can just split up and we don't care. But now it's not like that. I have to, every interaction I have, this thing impacts. It just does. Like people are like, oh, I can't wait for your shows to not ever talk about this. No, sorry, it's not going to happen. It affects every part of our lives and it's impossible to avoid. So now we're in this much more stark relief sort of focused interaction, and it's impossible for me to try to express, well, not impossible, but if I try to express that I'm sad for my nephew because of this thing he lost out on, and I'm trying to tell somebody else who is currently sad because their heater broke, as an example, or somebody else's kid is sick and they don't know if they've got it, or they're worried about their parents and they haven't seen them in 2 months, or whatever it is, it's just impossible. It feels impossible for us to commiserate in a weird way. Even though we're all in this together and it's happening to us all collectively, it's hard to feel collective.
And here's the thing. This, in theory, should be the least lonely moment on the entire spectrum of the human world ever. That doesn't even make sense. But because we are all, for probably the first time ever, everyone's thinking about the same thing or being affected by the same thing. Like when a world war maybe, but even then there had to have been places that were just oblivious, obviously, right? It's such an interesting time in that sense of like, no matter where you are in life's spectrum of existence, we're all pretty much in the same boat. Now, obviously someone has a mansion to be housed up and other people are homeless, right? Like there's still that variation, but there's this thing of, and I think this is happening a little bit with my anxious clients who are feeling very calm, it's this, oh, now everyone matches me. Like I'm not alone, that I'm worried about everything. So some of these strange empathic responses can happen, but this is my point of grief, is that capacity to empathize with someone else's predicament is only possible when you're doing your own grieving, right? If you don't grieve for Abe just a little bit, and then grieve for your cold house just a little bit, and it's like every day taking out, like getting through the bottom of your email and emptying the trash on your computer wouldn't know what to do, right? Like you have just more space, you have more freedom, more emotional availability to be present for someone else's challenge, rather than now it's a scarce resource, empathy, and that we can't see that you're sad and I'm sad, or you lost something and I lost something, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's the loss that's the thing that connects us.
Is there a danger in people saying, well, if I just lose myself in the service of others who need it, that will somehow take care of mine? Is that good? Is that a bad approach to take?
I think, like anything, moderation of it matters, in the sense of like, you can obviously overdo that, burn yourself out, and have you've left the mask off and then you pass out, right? Like that's a version of that. But I think it's a combination. And I would say there's a lot of folks that tend to be very good at, they want to help everybody else, that neglect themselves. That's very common. And so it would be probably one of the greatest acts of compassion for them to turn that to themselves and make sure that they're okay. This comes very naturally with parents, because even though if I want to just sit and read a book and not make another mother effing dinner, I don't have that luxury, right? I have 4 kids who will, like, I mean, we've eaten a lot of candy, let's be honest, would just eat candy and everyone would feel sick. And, like life just gets worse if I stop being mom. Right. And though I may want to. So there's some forcing that occurs, I think, when you're in charge of others, which means we tend to have our lashing out maybe at the kids, or the heater, or the stupid this or that, because our bandwidth is pretty stretched. Right. I mean, I read something great this morning about, and I should find it to quote it correctly, but essentially like, hey, if you work full-time, part-time, or you're a stay-at-home parent, there are reasons that's the case. There's the reasons you're not a homeschooling full-time teacher. Yeah. And so to expect yourself to now go from continue working and from your home and take care of everyone, and they eat all the time and be their educator, like it's impossible. It's impossible. Yeah. And so if you're going to feel bad about you're not doing it right, there's a reason you're not. So, and it kind of went through like how to be kind to yourself and kind to your children. So you read, you play, we've been playing Settlers of Catan. I mean, the wars and the fighting over the walls and the trading. We're going to be amazing when we're done. Oh yeah. At Catan, but like that is more educational, emotionally, psychologically beneficial than making sure they got their math done in just the right way. Because I have no business teaching my kids math. No, neither. And so everyone's got their own challenge with this. I obviously am living the parent version of school age kids of this, but that kindness and recognition that our mindsets, whatever they were before this happened, we need to ask some questions about it.
Yeah.
And mine is to let go, and we're just going to have a good time until June 4th when school's out. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, so that's the other thing is normally you can plot out your plan.
Yeah.
Because you can say, like, let's say something like 9/11. The attack happens. Most of the country is remote from it. We're not there. But even New Yorkers in some ways have an idea of what's next. It's like we're assessing the destruction. We now have this to do, that to do, and we can do this by such and such time, such and such date. It's going to cost such and such money. We're going to need this from our government. We're going to need this from local people, blah, blah, blah. Like there's a plan there. With this thing, there's so little in the way of markers. It's like, on the one hand, the administration is saying, well, we're trying to get everything back by Easter. But healthcare professionals are saying, no, you're just going to open it up to the huge burst in the numbers, and that's going to kill people. But they don't know dates either. Nobody does. There's just projections and there's computer models and there's stuff that says maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. And nobody's got dates in their head. Nobody's got anything close to that. We don't know any of that. And that, to me, is the one unique identifier of this particular problem versus other kinds of issues. Like even when we had the earthquake a week and 2 days ago, or a week and a day ago, and all these aftershocks since, if that was an isolated incident, the clarity of what you do next is there. And you know what you have to do. And even though you can't predict earthquakes, you can predict the way aftershocks work and when they start to diminish and what that means. You also can predict, all right, well, if this is the epicenter and these places were affected, then these people can move over here and we can evacuate this particular thing because we know that's most at risk. And, you can make those decisions. This one, the one big decision that everybody can agree on, most people can agree on, is that you should self-isolate and push down the curve. That's it. That's all we have. What else is there? There's no other guidance, right? Other than be safe, take care of yourself, help people if you can, but keep your distance, blah, blah, blah. Like there's all those good pieces of advice, and they are good pieces of advice, but we don't have a timeline. We don't have a milestone.
And one thing with grief is that grief, we've talked about the stages of grief before where you're angry, you're bargaining, eventually you get to acceptance. And there is a sixth stage that is the hope. And that's kind of the therapy people talk about this probably more than regular folks talk about it, is the sixth stage is finding meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we're grieving the loss of baseball or the loss of this or that, whatever it is for you, it's hard to find meaning because we don't know the end.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, and here's where it is the most utterly frustrating thing to me, is that good, sound, responsible, humane leadership by somebody you trust to tell you to hang in there, the meaning will come, that things will be, and it's not false. I don't mean that it's fake promises or any of those things. I mean, genuinely, you feel like there's some grown-ups in charge, because all of us turn into kids in these moments, right?
A little bit.
So I know I have to do that for my family. I have to be the leader, right? So I'm hugging my kids, telling them I love them. I'm playing with them. We talk about what is happening in such a way that they can feel like but it's legit that we're also freaked out. So it's hard to do this. I realize even being a leader in your own family, when these people have to listen to you, is hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard when there isn't anyone, in my opinion, on any kind of stage that's doing this. Maybe certain states are having that with their governors are doing a good job of that. Or I feel like sometimes companies it's more consoling to listen to them in their emails, et cetera. But I feel like that lack of helping us find meaning, and there's great storylines for this, right? Like, we don't want all the boomers to die. We don't want the teenagers to, be left without an economy and a job situation after. There's more to why we are doing these things. Like, could somebody craft that and present it in such a way that's meaningful and calming. And, I think of, we used to, like you said last time we talked, they had, 3 TV stations and we trusted the anchor, and that stuff's gone.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
And I think that's a really, it's a major gaping hole for a lot of folks. And so they're having to find their own things. Like conspiracy theories are what they are and always have been, but I think they're even more tempting now because there's even less ways to feel like someone can soothe some of these concerns and fears. So I've got to figure out other ways.
It's kind of interesting too if you think about it. It's like when Walter Cronkite was your one trusted dude, and that's who everyone listened to back in the day, and that was your final word. It didn't occur to people then, but that was an enormous responsibility for one person or one organization to try to keep as accurate as possible, as above board as possible. Like, that had to have been a lot of responsibility. You could also argue that that's too much for one source, and that you need more sources, that you need more witnesses, you need more. And in theory, what we have now should be better, right? It should be, because in theory, we have access to all the information. But what we didn't count on is that we would have access to 4chan pranksters as much as we would somebody who's trying to get something important out there. And and in equal measure, or maybe even right now a little bit unequal. And that's hard. Like,
it is hard. It is hard. And I don't know how you solve that, but I do know the thing that's the gaping hole is grief, in the sense of, I think you can find speeches that presidents have given in the past during a difficult time. I remember listening to George Bush and feeling comforted when after 9/11.
You're not even a George Bush fan, and you felt that.
And I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Because, just saying, Trump has missed a major opportunity to be a good person here,
right.
And be
Many.
and many, right? Like this is a gift if you're presidential, but. And I think, there's that thing maybe missing, but what does it look like individually? So, for example, somebody who is terrified and hoarding guns and bullets is saying that's their story. Their story is humans cannot be trusted, and I'm going to shoot anybody that comes near me because chaos is on its way. Which I'd love to hear a really good have a really good conversation with somebody who is a libertarian right now about just anything, right? Of like, because on one hand, are humans really good and that's your belief, or you think humans are bad? I'm so confused by that whole process. But anyway, my point being this, like, that story, if I could sit down with them individually and find out what's underneath that, where is your grief? What is your panic about, right? And then someone else who is giving away their store, they're giving away sanitizer and toilet paper, and they're helping the elderly, and people are doing things. I mean, we have both. It's happening in both directions. I'm not saying someone with guns can't also be a good neighbor. Go for it. But hoarding your guns and then hoarding your toilet paper, maybe same category, versus the impulse to be generous. Why? Why do we have such different degrees? And to me, it always comes down to our individual experience, right? Our individual psychology, what we do with fear, or what our story has been, or if we want to get back to the topic and simplify it way too much, what have we not grieved before? Because this pandemic did not show up when any one of us was psychologically prepared for it.
No.
Not a single one.
No.
And in your case, your heater wasn't ready. In my case, I had finally, and I'm not kidding, this is so ridiculous, because I've always had crappy health insurance my whole life, and I'm healthy, and I always have been. So I ignore a lot of things. I was going to get a well check, whatever that's called, a physical.
Yeah.
For the first time since I was probably 17. I mean, I've done other healthcare, don't get me wrong, but this was like just to like self-care, put the mask on. Hey, you're this age, you should probably do this. And of course, every single appointment had to be canceled. And I'm like, look at me waiting till the last minute to try to just have a normal healthcare experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, none of us are prepared for this. So what I think you're finding is that it's like pouring gas on whatever our stuff is. And so our obligation really should be first how to deal with ourselves. And I get that now that seems like a total luxury because everything's on fire. But if we don't grieve right now, this feels like emergency grieving needs to take place. And the way to do it is to proactively give yourself time to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I suck at this. Obviously, it takes a text late at night on a Wednesday for me to cry, right? Like, I have to do it. Like, I have to sit down. I need to write it out. I need to say what makes me sad and what I lost and what my kids have lost and my community has lost and feel it. And that's, none of us like this, but oh man, it's important.
Yeah. None of us want it. None of us like it. Anyone who tells you they do is probably not being honest with you about it anyway. So just, that's the hard bit, is just, is feeling like you're not aligned with other people. Like you're on a different, you're all experiencing this in such different ways that it, and then that creates conflict. And I don't just mean the extremes where somebody, it's a conspiracy. This is the NSA trying to suss us out and mass track us. That's how they do it, is they release a virus they built in a lab. And like, I've heard people say this.
Right. Yeah.
And
my favorite one, did you hear this one? It's going around Europe pretty good, is that the asteroid that's on its way is going to hit us. And so they made up this whole thing so that, people would go back home with their families and be with their families when they all get annihilated.
So this is just like it's a ruse just to get us all clustered together.
Yeah, it's actually really sweet.
Oh, that's adorable.
And I was like, you mean the international community that literally can't solve anything? You think they did this?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, they give people, sometimes people get some serious credit where none is due when it comes to a conspiracy.
None is due. Yeah.
All right. Well, I found this discussion helpful. I think this is the stage we're at, and I think
for sure
future episodes of you being on here, Wendy, I think is going to be interesting, because we are going through weirdly, it's like 12-step process of emergency moments, and what do you do during each of those moments to best be prepared to handle them, to deal with the ramifications of it. And I am starting to see a lot more chatter about. We're now starting to have to talk about not just the physical ramifications, but the mental ones, and no one's talking about this. And
well, and my cute neighbor across the street is a cute neighbor. That's weird to say. I'm like a mom. Neighbor. Sorry, is a policeman. And it's not that I think he's cute. Right. He's just real nice.
He's so cute.
Anyway, sorry.
Hidden place, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we just yell across the way, hey. Anyway, no, he, before we were all completely stuck in our houses, we were just talking about police work and domestic violence is just the new crime, right? Because you've got people stuck in their homes with their abusers. You've got the psychological ramifications of all sorts of things happening, and suicidality has risen, and so we've got a lot of things just initially that are sort of showing some of the cracks, but this sort of long-term thing is going to be really tricky. And here's the thing: I have to do the stuff that I am saying, because guess what? I'm also in the pandemic. I don't know if you're aware that unlike all of the times I'm helping someone else, I am not in their situation.
All right.
And suddenly I'm like, can we just spend the old hour talking about the pandemic? Yeah. They're like, how is this therapy for me? It's therapy for you. Yeah. So I'm working on that, but it really is unprecedented in so many ways, but we have so many good tools. And so many things, and really, and I know we've talked about self-care before on the show. This cannot be more important, that we put that mask on us and that we grieve what we need to grieve. We move our bodies. We maybe don't try to solve our marital problems on a Tuesday. That we do some things that are really going to put us in a position of strength, because this will take a toll and we have to be very careful.
I agree. This is good stuff. I hope everybody got something out of it. I know I did. We'll do it again next week, probably. Depends on how things go. Every week feels like a million miles past the last one, but
I know.
God, it does.
It's really weird.
So weird.
But anyway,
can I recommend a book really quick that has nothing to do with grief?
100%.
Sure.
100%.
Okay, it's called This Is Chance. It's by John Mooallem.
Okay.
Is the book. It's This Is Chance, the shaking of an all-American city, a voice that held it together. And it's about the earthquake in 1964 in Alaska.
Okay.
And about the woman who was just like a mom part-time and also like a little reporter. And she was in the news station downtown when it happened. And this was a 9.4 earthquake, 9.2.
That's a big one.
And she ended up being like the voice of the recovery and all of the things. Anyway, it's a pretty amazing story, but it's very timely in that it's, you know, it gives you another thing to worry about, I guess. But here's what I like about it. And the guy who wrote the book talked about this, that everywhere there's a big challenge, like 9/11 is an example of it, or any hurricane or any place, you know, earthquake where it's affected a local group of people. The most common thread through each of these dramatic experiences is that the people feel special about the people they live around. So New York is New York, right?
Yeah.
Only in New York could we have done what we've done. And that gathering of that pride, and they step up and they do all these amazing things. I think all of America felt that, and the world felt connected to that, right? But New York had its special thing, right? So that happened in this place in Alaska, and it's our frontiersmen, and we can do this. And so that sort of galvanizing of identity around your location with the challenge. And anyway, I'm intrigued by it because I want us as a world to do that, right? I want us to see that we're all amazing and that my neighborhood is particularly fantastic. And you think that same thing about your neighborhood. And right, that I guess that's part of the anti-negative news, more positive news thing that I think I highly recommend to people is to get on a news feed. Tank Good News, I think is what it is, on Instagram, where you're just reading story after story about how people are incredible. Just because I think we forget. We get a little stuck in the panic scrolling and I need to know this. And, you know, we really do need to give some energy to all the good stuff that has taken place in the past and will happen now, you know?
I agree. Tom did something really cool yesterday on DTNS. We spent the whole it's his daily tech show, and we did the whole main topic was about what is happening in the world of tech that is forward thinking or proactive against what's happening. And in other words, like in New York, there's a group of programmers, hackers, designers, a whole bunch of people that are really great at what they do, all coming together and basically creating a big task force that's like, all right, well, what's happening in certain boroughs where we can go beef things up, or we can add some infrastructure, or we can do whatever. And all these different tech stories where people are doing things in the tech world, which still sticks to the topics of his show, but we're all in the positive light. And that was the entire rundown, which I thought was really cool. And then later he told me after the show, he says, I have two forms of social distancing. One is actual physicality with people for the good of everyone. And two, I am socially distancing myself from news that is based on conjecture or pundits or people just making guesses or whatever. I'm looking for real science. I want to talk to real, people who actually know this stuff. And then on the other hand, I'm looking for more positive information about proactive things that are being done. And it really hit me yesterday. I was like, that is exactly what a lot of us could use. I know I could use it. So I'm trying that today. And that was just yesterday. So we'll see how long I go before I got to read something dumb. But anyway, we'll talk more next week. And Wendy's Wendy Dunford on Instagram. Although I haven't seen a lot of my family posting a lot of Instagram lately because I think everybody's a little bit like.
Yeah, and they're like, "Here's me in my house." I mean, what are we gonna do? You know?
Yeah, it's just a little weird. However, you can also find her at therapythursdays.com and then realsteps.org.
Yes, let me tell you about that. Speaking of fun, so we're moving off of Facebook. Thank goodness, I hate Facebook so much. But so we have our own website. We have our own platform we're using for this next round. It's going to be great. So I had a couple people interested, but they're like, I'm not doing it if it's on Facebook. And I agree. So it is off Facebook now, and it is our own thing, and it's going to be super fun. It starts April 6th. Go to realsteps.org, and you can read all about it. And please sign up. It's going to be a blast. And we are obviously going to be dealing with pandemic health problems, right? Like not obviously the health exact problem, but getting your sleep and maintaining your sanity and your health and your mental well-being. So probably more than ever, this might be something that would be interesting to just feel like you're part of a community that is helping you do those basic self-care things that, are going to help you survive. So it feels timely. And anyway, at least it's off Facebook. So go to realsteps.org, please.
At the very least, it's off Facebook. So
that's my one success.
Yeah.
That's the silver lining.
Yeah, count that as a nice point of light in all of this darkness. All right. Yeah. Wendy, have a good week. We'll talk to you later, and thanks for being here.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Wendy.
That was weird. I almost told her I loved her because I do that when I text her, but it's a little
well,
weird on the show,
I have an aunt that always ends her conversations with "Love you."
Oh, that's adorable.
Love you too.
Love you too, Aunt. What's her name? Aunt, what is it?
Barb. Aunt Barb.
Oh, Aunt Barb. I love Aunt Barb.
Aunt Barb.
That's awesome.
She doesn't sound like that, but she's not from Minnesota or Wisconsin or North Dakota.
Well, now to me, she is. That's forever in my head.
Exactly.
All right. A couple things. Real quick here. We got an email from Super Frog fan. Is his actual name in
You're
here?
gonna get through this really quick. I'm looking at this.
Well, it's pretty long. I don't know how quick it'll be, but I thought I at least wanted to mention it. It says here, I wrote you a couple of days ago. I'm a weird European guy who listens to TMS since 2011 and enjoy every single moment of it. I would like to congratulate you on the upcoming 1900th episode. That's today.
No, it was yesterday.
I'm sorry. Today's 1901. You're right.
Yeah.
There it is right there. Sorry. Happy. We should have at least mentioned it yesterday, but I didn't think about it. Anyway.
Wait, you know what? We'll celebrate when we hit 2000.
Yeah, 2000, baby.
4 months.
2000. Jeez. Anyway, I would like to congratulate you on that, and of course, wish you good health and prosperity in these difficult times. May all the Frog Pants community be safe and healthy, both physically and mentally, so we can enjoy many more episodes. In my previous message, I collected a list of things that have become some of the most enjoyable moments of the show that have either been played many times or have been mentioned a lot. I have now extended this list with some more items. Please add more if you come up with any yourself. In my opinion, this list reflects the uniqueness and quirkiness of the show and is a good conversation point for commemorating the past milestones of TMS. Love the show, though. Here's the mentioned list in no particular order. I'm now going to read these in rapid fire style. He says these are the things, okay? You can eat rice, fart gas, explosive tip, really, with Patrick. Sabotage, let's test the ship's phasers. Hi, Burnham, in the clip clop. My limp peen. Although he said penis. Sausage, tender crisp bacon cheddar ranch, bearded fruit. This show is so gay. Thick and liquid. Excuse me for a moment while I go throw up. It's a good Brian moment. Dog butt flung poo. Fletcher thing. Cat and chicken porn. You don't want to know why she farts. Or know that she farts. Sorry. We ordered more fish, but they couldn't give us more fish. Is it too early to get a fish sandwich? Lucy from Oklahoma. Daryl gagging. 1930s. It's kind of fruity, isn't it? Love the show, though. Utah Connection. Gorbit. Greg for Walkman. Hey, Greg, you're here. You hear that? Someone called you out, buddy. I'd like to eat and beep. The water turned the frogs gay. There's different flavors you can get. Dump the rice into the thing, wrapped in plastic. My body, Brian Ibbett, moviegoer. Cockacoo. There it is. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't, in my head, it wouldn't form, so I'm glad you did it. Shall we tallywhack it? Mad Max Fury Road, Waterworld, Smooth and Convincing, Diamond Club, Legacy Podcast, the Hispanic and Hispanics too. The guy on Twitter lied. No treaty, no vaccine, no Lieutenant Yar. Chester Cheetah wasn't a tiger. Or wasn't he a tiger? Sorry, Toucan Sam. He is a parrot, isn't he? That's a new one.
That's brand new, yeah.
Poo Bag in the Face story, the parking lot taco story, the alcohol-free pina colada story, the record of not barfing for decades, the division of barf and poop duty, Third Eagle in the Apocalypse, End Times, Crazy Neighbors, Electric Car Neighbor, and finally, Too Much Hassle.
Wow.
That's a lot of references.
That is a lot of references. I know there is a Morning Stream wiki, and somebody needs to maybe it's Super Frog Fan needs to come up with the origination stories of all of these stories. Where does dog butt flung poo come from?
I'd be down with that. That sounds like a great idea. I love that.
But I mean, there's you can, and it's super easy to say, well, where's Strawberry Pop-Tart Blowtorch?
Mm-hmm.
Where's
where indeed?
I don't like bees. Where's I don't watch the news. You know, all these things.
Yeah.
There's so many that could fill this thing.
JK is like, you should go play all those now. I'm like, I can't. I'm not.
Oh God.
I'm not going to find
a lot of
all
these
that.
don't have audio clips too.
No, they're not all audio. So, all right. Now, because we liked it so much, and even though we're going long, I don't care. We're going to do some more haikus.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Now, I assume these are still video games described in haiku
They're
form, right?
still video games, correct.
And this is from, what was his name? Joy Luck Bing Bong Chuck Chong. What's his name?
My name is Jam Joyzer.
Joyzer.
But I enjoyed, I want to hear you come up with it. It's like Nicole naming a celebrity.
I can never remember names from the chat room. Anyway, here we go. Number 1, Brian, try this one.
Okay.
Workers' rights absent. In space, none can hear you sure. Sue. Sorry. Why is there an R in my eyes are bad today?
Yeah.
In space, none can hear you sue. Capitalism. In space, so it's got to be in space.
So a space, like a space worker kind of game where you're, making your people build stuff.
Yeah.
But suing, so it's not like Ace Attorney, whatever his name is. I don't know this.
Is it?
We have a guess in the chat room.
What do we have?
Free Rangers says Kerbal Space Program.
No, there's no way it's that.
Or Outer Worlds.
No, Outer Worlds doesn't. Well, it may.
I
never finished
this one.
it.
I don't know.
I never finished it, so I don't know. Red Faction could be it.
It is Outer Worlds.
It is Outer Worlds, really?
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't finish that game, so I think that's a hint as to how things end up.
I guess you haven't gotten to the lawsuit portion of Outer Worlds yet.
Yeah, it gets very litigious, I guess, in the end.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Let's do this next one. Life expendable. The walls sticky with ichor. The child's great flesh. Life expendable. Walls
It's not
sticky.
BioShock, is it?
Child's
I
great
don't know. The wall sticky with ichor isn't BioShock.
I mean, that actually sounds right. Silent Hill?
People are saying Silent Hill, Fear, Blinding of Isaac. Leisure Suit Larry. Maybe you're working on the last one, Dizzy Stargazer.
Yeah.
Life expendable. The walls sticky with ichor. The child's great flesh.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know. BioShock's not I'm going to say you're right. It's
Has
BioShock.
anyone-
So what do you say there?
Has anyone in the chat room gotten it, Jim Joyzer?
Super Meat Boy. Oh, man. That's
Oh,
bad.
super. Okay, gotcha. Child great flesh is Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's technically boy is super meat. But
Nicely
yeah,
done. That was a good one.
That is good.
All right, next one. 7 years he slept, despite his name, not a chain, temporal music. Or temporal.
My first thought is temporal. Dead Space? No.
7 years he slept, despite
7 years he slept. Oh wow. Okay. This one apparently was a lot easier. Telly Zarel says Ocarina of Time, which totally makes sense.
Oh.
But why? Ocarina of Time. Why would that be despite his name, not a chain?
Not a chain. Despite his name, not a chain.
It is
Oh, there it is.
okay.
Line 2.
Oh, Link in a chain. Duh, of course. Yeah. Like, look at the 7 people all Link. Yeah,
I'm
okay, that kind of makes
terrible at these. Okay, next one. Little people here, and big bull things there. Pandas everywhere. Oh, this is World of Warcraft. Gotta be.
Is it Pandaria? Why little? Oh, gotcha. Of course, right. You're
Goblins
you're,
and gnomes and
yeah, and cow people.
there
sure.
it is. It's WoW.
Wow.
Okay.
Good.
All right, we knew that one. All right, number 5, final one. All about that bling. It can hurt to touch his kind. Quick, find a doctor.
All about that bling. It can hurt to touch his kind. Quick, find a doctor. I suck at these, man.
All about that bling. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
It can hurt to touch his kind. Oh, Sonic. Sure.
Sonic, because he's going after Dr. Robotnik. He can't touch his own guys because it hurts, and he's all about getting the rings.
And Dr. Robotnik, yeah, very good.
Chat room's good at these.
They are good at this. Wow.
I like them, even though I'm bad at them.
I do too. Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's more of a game for the chat room than it is for us. Because,
Feels like, yeah.
I've played maybe 5 games in the last 10 years, Scott.
Well, at least you got the World of Warcraft one, so we're good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well done, you guys. And we'll do more of those down the road. They're fun. I like them.
They are fun.
Okay. Tomorrow we are not doing PM because we're doing the Playdate. Tomorrow is the TMS PM Playdate, which will be not TMS PM, TMS Playdate.
TMS Playdate.
Or Patron Playdate. There you go. I can't talk. That'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Right?
1 p.m. 1 to 3. Yes, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Yep. 2 hours of fun-filled extravaganza, playing Jackbox games with you, the community, with me and Brian. Possibly some guest stars. We don't know.
Yeah, let's hope.
1 p.m. Mountain Time. Sorry, Jimmy, 2 times. That is correct. So that's 3 p.m. Eastern is when it starts. And that would be 12 p.m. Pacific. So if you can be around to be a part of that, that'd be great. We'd love to have you guys in there. You don't need to be a patron to watch, and in some cases even play. It sort of depends on how many patrons are there to play. So we let patrons play first. If we have an open slot for somebody where they're not, then we'll pull other people in. Also, this isn't hidden behind anything. You can watch this no matter who you are. So it's a live stream for all. And that'll be tomorrow at 1.
Exactly. Because of that, no Guess the Connection, because I never do those on the Fridays. We have patron play dates. So
right. That's usually your record time, right? Like 1 anyway.
Right there, 1. Actually, I've been moving them to 2:30. So basically, I do Guess the Connection. I have a little bit of a break to get stuff ready for TMS PM, and then that leaves my whole first part of my day free for freelance.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
But it conflicts with DTNS, so... There's issues all over the
There's
place.
issues everywhere you go. There's just no way of getting around it. All right. If you are interested in helping us on that Patreon and getting the PM episodes, which you only get by being a patron, you go to patreon.com/TMS. Lots of great rewards. I just put out new artwork for this. Well, actually, that was a couple of weeks ago. It feels like time is weirdly compressed. So anyway, you'll be getting new artwork soon. We're not stopping that train. All that stuff still ships.
Yay.
Comes straight to your door. Good news is, I heard this yesterday. Tom was reading some science. They tested the virus on surfaces like cardboard. So like if you're getting packages, and they don't.
24 hours for cardboard.
What was it for plastic? Do you remember? Or for like
it was a little bit longer.
A little bit longer
for plastic.
Yeah.
But
24 hours. It can't survive a day on cardboard. So if you get a box, still be careful. Wash your hands real good after, all that kind of stuff. Throw the boxes away, but should be okay.
What I do is I take gloves. I have black gloves that I use for 3D printing with the goo, the SLA printer. I open the package on my doorstep, and then I take out what I want out of it, and then I cough on it, close it back up, and hope that a porch pirate comes and steals it.
That's a.
Am I doing something wrong?
No, it feels like maybe. Feels like maybe. Yeah. All right, that's it. Frogpants.com/TMS for everything else. If you want to contact us, like all these great emailers, all this other stuff, there's a great way to do it right over there. Frogpants.com/TMS. All the ways are listed, so one place fits all. Request your songs, all of it's all there.
Yes.
Okay. Song? We do song.
We do song now? We absolutely do song now. Michael from Columbus wrote in and said, "Hey, Scratch and Bristle. My girlfriend Erica and I both love the song Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I'd love to give her the gift of having a cover of the song played on your show on her birthday," which I'm sorry was yesterday, March 25th. "The cover by Camp Cope is great, but whatever you have would be swell. Thank you so much, Michael from Columbus." Well, Michael, I apologize for getting this to you a little bit late. And hopefully Erica is still enjoying her birthday times. Here it is from the Triple J Like a Version Volume 13, which came out 3 years ago.